Hello. Hello, everyone. So yesterday I didn't do the live. It was the first time since I started doing these little daily weekday shows and chats. And yesterday was the first day I skipped and I didn't do a live because I was busy with my own um, learning. I'm part of a mastermind, so I kind of preach. I do what I preach, and I'm part of a mastermind with a group of many other entrepreneurs. And yesterday we had a workshop day, so I was busy with that. And I thought today that I will share something that yesterday I found really impactful and really inspirational. We had, as part of our strategy planning and workshop, we had a guest speaker, a guy called Phil M. Jones, and he's a published author and he's a sales specialist, sales strategy specialist, and he's published many books you can find on Amazon, and they're little books like this, like really little, and it's like really little size, but they're super useful books, and he's really interesting and knows his stuff. And yesterday he did a bit of a Q&A session where people presented him with problems, with challenges that they're facing. As you can imagine, now everyone is struggling how to reposition themselves, how to change their messaging. Everyone is struggling with potentially selling in the same way that they're used to, and they need to reframe their offers and how they present themselves. So it was a great opportunity for many entrepreneurs in all kinds of different spaces. I'm forever and the only one in fashion usually. But yesterday was a great opportunity for these entrepreneurs, for our group, to get advice from someone who is a world-class renowned author, published author, a speaker, etc., and in the sales space. So I just thought that I'll share with you something that I found really interesting and I thought would apply to all of you here. And you can use it and apply it immediately into your businesses, hopefully. So 2 ideas. So the first idea was that he shared a concept of the Magic 18, something that he works on. And this concept is that he breaks down anything that he has to approach. And in our case, I really thought that that can apply for people who are looking how to pitch the press or how to pitch wholesale, customers. I don't know how much wholesale there will be left after this pandemic, but if you're approaching anything that you're approaching that you want to pitch yourself to, or any task that you're approaching, like marketing, etc. But the idea is that you have this Magic 18 and you separate it into 3 groups of 6. So an example of that would be, let's say you want to pitch the press, and you can create 3 groups of 6 potential contacts that you want to approach, and 6 of them can be contacts that you can research, and maybe someone knows someone you can be referenced or referred to, something that is quite easy, low-hanging fruit as they call it, something that is not going to be a massive stretch for you to get connected to someone. The next 6 would be a category of magazines, let's say, or people in the press that you really want to be part of, you really want to be featured in that publication. And then the 3rd group of 6 would be something that is like a dream list, something really out of reach. And the idea is that you're always working on these 3 groups of 6. And the minute someone says no, they come out of the list and they get replaced by someone else. The minute someone says yes, they come off the list, get replaced by someone else. So at any one point, you have 18 magic contacts that you're constantly working on and tracking and following up with and emailing, etc. So I thought that was really good, and that potentially can also relate to marketing, how to schedule your posts on Instagram, on Facebook, etc. How to if you split it into different categories. How to obviously pitch retailers, how to separate, identify opportunities where you can potentially sell your products, etc. You can apply that kind of methodology to anything. Now, I often get emails and a lot of DMs via Facebook and Instagram of a lot of people wanting to start a fashion brand and getting stuck on step 1. How do I start? Where do I start? And I always say start anywhere. Just it doesn't really matter where you start anywhere, and that would lead you and give you the idea and the direction, and it would kind of point you into, it would take you somewhere. But if you're kind of overthinking it, where do I start, you're not going to start. So I have a list of articles that I usually send them from our blog, just kind of guide them a little bit, etc. But I think that this sort of method also, it's a really helpful method to identify where, what you want to do, what are the the groups of ideas perhaps that you want, what are the possible avenues in which you can start and go for it, etc. So I think that was quite a good little strategy. Now, the second thing that I thought was pretty cool that he shared with us was the idea of being able to, at any one point, he said that he himself, at any one point, he's working on two businesses: a business that he's running, that is operational, up and running, and a business that he's growing, something new. And he spoke about the idea of giving yourself a permission to be playful. And I really like that idea, because I think now more than ever, as I've mentioned before, it's a really good time to experiment with ideas. Everyone is doing it. Everyone is trying to forge their way forward, to survive, there were people who were at the point of, or just launched a business. It doesn't mean that just because this has happened, you have to fold and stop whatever you were doing. You just have to perhaps rethink it. And as I've said countless times before, you have to reframe it, repackage it, and reposition yourself just to, the current environment. So the idea of actually giving yourself a permission to be playful and to play was an interesting one, because it just means that there's no better time like now, especially if you don't necessarily have, the struggles for money. But if you're not really pressed for money, the idea of being playful and of playing with some new ideas and testing them and using this environment as a testing ground, it's quite an appealing one, I think, because it can open your eyes and expose you to potential products or services or revenue streams that you might not have considered had we not found ourselves in this situation. So those were the two things. And actually, going back to the Magic 18, another thing that I just noticed, a point that he had made, was the whole concept of actually flirting with business and with the people you want to approach and get something out of. So complimenting the people in the press. And that goes back, it's a bit of a common sense. If you want to approach someone, you need to research and make sure that there's a good fit between you and the person, your proposition you are pitching at. But he, again, bringing that whole sense of being playful, and rather than, I really need to get this, that idea of actually flirting with someone, with another person that you want them to pick up something from your business, whether you want them to buy your product or whether to feature you or collaborate with you, etc. But being able to, the idea of flirting with them to get them, to come on to your level and do something with you, that was quite a fun idea. So that's it for today. I hope that's helpful, just something to think about. And I'll see you tomorrow.